Have you ever wondered why your body bends the way it does? Why, when you reach for your toes, something ancient stirs inside you, a quiet pulse, as if the earth itself exhales through your spine. We've been taught that touching our toes is just a stretch. But long before the gym mats and yoga studios, it was a sacred act, a gesture of remembrance, because in that single motion, the human body completes a forgotten circuit, from the crown of the head, where heaven whispers, down to the soles of the feet, where the earth sings, and in between lies the bridge, your spine, the ancient pillar, the living temple through which energy flows and stories awaken. They called it many names: the Jed in Egypt, the Sushumna in India, the Tree of Life in the old Hebrew texts. Each spoke of a vertical current, an invisible ladder rising within the human form. But here's the secret the ancients knew: this ladder doesn't climb to the sky. It spirals within you. Every bend, every bow, every breath. It's not about flexibility of the body. It's about remembering the architecture of your soul. So when you touch your toes, you aren't just folding forward. You are returning to the ground that made you. You're telling the earth, "I remember." And the earth answers back through a quiet hum at the base of your spine, a vibration older than language. For the mystics, this was not exercise. It was communication, a ritual, a conversation between the mortal and the divine. They believed that the spine held 7 seals, and each could unlock deeper memory of who you are, where you came from, and the light you once carried before forgetting. You see, we live our lives upright, proud, disconnected, distracted. But the moment you bow, something miraculous happens. Your head meets your heart meets your belly, and your energy descends, grounding, humbling, realigning. This is the secret language of the body, where posture becomes prayer and movement becomes meditation. So before we go further, pause for a moment. Feel your breath. Feel your spine, that divine column that has carried you through every lifetime. Because this journey, the spine gospel, is not about learning something new. It's about remembering what your body already knows. And if you've ever felt that quiet, electric tingle when you stretch, when you touch the floor, when your breath meets stillness, then you've already heard the call. Welcome to the remembrance. Welcome to the gospel of the spine. Soft music rises, a blend of wind, heartbeat, and ancient bells. If this first whisper touched something inside you, imagine what waits ahead. Follow the spine gospel, and let's go deeper into the current of ancient energy that lives in you. When your fingers reach the earth, something unseen completes itself. A hidden current travels through you, from crown to root and back again. Science might call it a bioelectric loop. The mystics called it the living river. Every nerve, every pulse in your spine is a messenger. It carries information, not just to move your muscles, but to remind you that your body is wired to the cosmos. In the book, The Body Electric by Dr. Robert O. Becker, he wrote, "Our bodies are not chemical machines. They are electrical systems." The ancients already knew this. They just spoke in symbols, not in volts and neurons, but in light and breath. They mapped what we now call the vagus nerve, the great wandering thread that runs from your brain, through your heart, your lungs, your gut, touching nearly every organ like a silent prayer. It's this thread that hums when you bow, that softens your heartbeat when you exhale, that releases ancient tension when you simply let go. The yogis said this was the Sushumna Nadi, the central channel of light. The Egyptians carved it as a serpent winding up a staff, the Jed pillar rising through Osiris. And in old Christian mysticism, it became Jacob's ladder, angels ascending and descending the human spine, all different tongues. One single truth, that when the human being reconnects this inner circuit, the soul begins to remember its design. Imagine it. Each breath you take draws subtle current from the air. Each touch, each step, each thought sends ripples through this current. But in the rush of modern life, constant noise, endless screens, chronic fear, the current fragments. It weakens, you feel it as fatigue. as anxiety, as disconnection. Your spine becomes rigid, your breath shallow, your body a tower cut off from its foundation. But the earth waits, patient as ever, for you to close the circuit again. Try this. Breathe in slowly. Now, as you exhale, imagine energy flowing down your spine, through your legs, into the soles of your feet. Feel that invisible pulse connecting you back to the ground. That's not imagination. It's the language of your nervous system. In The Heart's Code by Paul Pearsall, he wrote, "The body remembers what the mind forgets." When you touch your toes, the body remembers its unity. The loop between heaven and earth reawakens. Ancient Taoist masters described this as the microcosmic orbit, the sacred wheel of life force circulating through the body. They taught that illness begins when this current breaks and healing begins when it flows again. So when you bow, you're not surrendering. You're completing the circuit. You're becoming whole again, and maybe that's what all sacred gestures were meant to do, not to worship something outside, but to turn on the power within. Now the question is, can you feel that current right now flowing silently like golden water under your skin? Tell me in the comments, what did you feel when you reached down, even in thought? A warmth, a pull, a quiet hum? Because that sensation is not random. It's remembrance. And in that remembrance lies the doorway to awakening the spine itself, the living temple where ancient energy still waits to rise. The human spine is not just bone and marrow, it is architecture. Every vertebra, every curve was carved by something divine. In the ancient world, the spine was called the tree of life, a living temple where heaven and earth meet in human form. Look closely at sacred art. The staff of Hermes, the serpent coiling up Moses' bronze rod, the haloed Christ standing before a golden pillar. These were not symbols of superstition, they were blueprints of anatomy, maps for awakening. When you stand tall and breathe slowly, you begin to sense the spine as more than posture. It's a tower of light, the sacred ladder through which your consciousness ascends. Each vertebra is a step, each breath a prayer. In the book The Biology of Transcendence by Chilton Pearce, he wrote, "The body is designed as an instrument of transformation. Every organ, every system has a purpose in the evolution of consciousness, and nowhere is that more true than the spine." Modern neuroscience agrees. Within the spinal column runs the central nervous system, the electric highway linking mind, heart, and body. It's where the signals of fear, peace, pleasure, and pain all travel, the sacred circuitry through which your soul learns to feel the world. But long before wires and diagrams, the ancients treated the spine as a living altar. They aligned their breath with the movement of energy, rising like a serpent, coiling gently around the heart, and blooming at the crown like light through stained glass. Close your eyes. Imagine your spine as a column of golden light, rooted deep into the earth, stretching upward into infinity. Each breath draws that light higher. Each exhale anchors it deeper. You are not imagining, you are remembering. In the Kundalini experience by Gopi Krishna, he described this rising energy as the evolutionary power within man, a biological process that transforms the body into a higher instrument of perception. That same sacred process, the same current of awakening, sleeps at the base of your spine, waiting for your awareness to call it home. The yogis called it Kundalini, the Egyptians called it Sekhem, and in early Christianity, it was known as Spiritus Sanctus, the holy breath that moves like fire through the body. Different names, same phenomenon, the sacred ascent through the spinal temple. Now, gently touch your lower back. Breathe in through your nose, exhale through your mouth, and feel that breath travel up, vertebra by vertebra, like light climbing a staircase. This is prayer in motion, not words, but energy remembering its path, and maybe that's what the ancients meant when they said the body itself is the church, not a place to kneel, but a place to rise. Your spine has always been the temple. You just forgot how to enter it, but the doors are opening. Again, with each breath, with each gentle movement, you awaken the architecture of light, and once that light reaches your crown, something extraordinary begins. The meeting of ancient energy and modern awareness. That's where we go next, where the science of the nervous system finally meets the language of the soul. When ancient mystics spoke of divine fire moving through the body, they weren't wrong. They were describing electricity long before we named it. Every thought, emotion, and heartbeat you experience is powered by the quiet pulse of bioelectric light traveling through your nerves. Inside you, the vagus nerve hums like an ancient harp string running from the base of your brain, down through your neck, across your heart, lungs, and abdomen. This nerve is the bridge between your body and your peace. When it's calm, you are calm. When it's strained, your world feels heavy. Now imagine, as you bend forward, as your fingers reach toward your toes, you are not just stretching muscle. You are tuning the instrument of your nervous system. That gentle pull along your spine is communication, energy flowing through the same pathways that once powered your ancestors' prayers. Science calls it the parasympathetic state, a mode of deep rest and repair where your body heals, digests, and restores. Ancient healers called it entering the stillness. Both speak of the same truth. To awaken light, you must first soften. In his book, The Spark in the Machine, Dr. Daniel Keown wrote, "Chi is not mystical vapor. It is electricity. Every current of life in the body follows anatomical lines that we can measure and map." He was speaking of meridians, the same lines that flow along your legs, your spine, and yes, through your toes. Every pulse, every breath, every spark of warmth you feel, there is your body remembering its map of energy. When light moves through the nervous system, it doesn't just create sensation, it creates awareness. You begin to feel yourself again, not as scattered thoughts, but as one living current. The more you practice, the more that current strengthens. And what begins as tingling becomes clarity. Have you ever noticed how, after a deep stretch or a long sigh, the world feels clearer, almost brighter? That's your biofield, the electromagnetic aura of the human body, becoming coherent again. Your cells literally start to hum in harmony. In The Field by Lynn McTaggart, she writes, "We are all part of a vast sea of energy, and the human body is both transmitter and receiver. Every time you breathe slowly, touch your toes, or align your spine, you tune your body like a radio, catching the quiet frequencies of peace that were always there, just waiting beneath the noise. This is not imagination. It's physics wrapped in grace. Your cells emit photons, particles of light, and when you enter stillness, those photons organize. Coherence becomes calm. Calm becomes healing. Close your eyes again for a moment. Picture that golden current flowing through your nervous system, lighting each vertebra like candles in a sacred temple. With each breath, the light expands, from the spine to the heart to the hands to the toes. Now that's not just visualization, that's neuroplasticity, your brain rewiring its pattern toward peace. The mystics and scientists finally speak the same language now, the language of vibration, of resonance, of gentle awareness. When you learn to touch your body this way, you are not performing magic. You are remembering biology's oldest secret. You are the energy you seek. As you rest in that truth, notice how the warmth in your toes begins to rise again, up through the legs, through the base of your spine, and into your breath. It's light meeting nerve, ancient wisdom shaking hands with modern science. And when the two meet, something in you begins to harmonize. But what happens after this awakening? When the light stays, when peace becomes your baseline, that is where practice begins, a daily ritual of remembrance, a way to let this energy live in you day after day. Every sacred awakening asks for one thing: constancy. The energy you've touched isn't meant to appear once and vanish. It's meant to live with you quietly in the rhythm of every day. So let's create a ritual. A daily remembrance. Not a routine of effort, but a whisper your body can follow. Each morning, before the noise of the world begins, sit at the edge of your bed and place your bare feet on the floor. Let your toes feel the earth, even if it's carpet, even if it's cold tile, because energy recognizes intention more than environment. Take a slow breath in through your nose, and as you exhale, feel your spine lengthen. Imagine that golden light again, rising from the soles of your feet up through your calves, climbing the ladder of your spine until it reaches your crown. This takes less than a minute, but it changes everything. Now gently bend forward. Touch your toes, not to stretch, but to listen. This is the same sacred point we began with. Let your breath meet your fingertips. Inhale and feel the flow rise. Exhale and feel the tension dissolve. You may notice warmth or a quiet pulse. That's your vagus nerve responding, your parasympathetic system opening the door to calm. You are communicating with your body in its oldest language, touch, breath, and awareness. Do this once each morning and once before bed. That's all. In Energy Medicine by Donna Eden, she writes, "The body doesn't speak English. It speaks energy, and it listens best when you touch it with intention. This small act, touching your toes, aligning your spine, breathing deeply, is a conversation with your nervous system, a way to say, I am here. I'm listening. Over time, you'll notice subtle shifts. You'll fall asleep faster. Your breath will deepen. Moments that once felt chaotic will feel more manageable, as if life itself is exhaling through you. Some days, you might not feel much. That's all right. Ancient energy doesn't rush. It responds to devotion, not demand. The consistency is what shapes the change, like a river carving a canyon, soft but unstoppable. Let this ritual be your bridge between the physical and the unseen. You're not chasing peace. You're remembering it. You're teaching your body the way back home. As Dr. Joe Dispenza writes in Becoming Supernatural, when you embody new emotions, you teach your body what your mind has learned. So, each morning, when you touch your toes, you're not just stretching, you're embodying calm. You're downloading tranquility into your cells. Pause here for a moment. Ask yourself softly, how do I feel right now? Let that question linger. This is where your dialogue with the divine begins, not in temples or texts, but in the simple act of presence. Remember, you are not performing a ritual to reach energy. You are the energy, and this daily act merely reawakens it. Now the body is aligned, the breath is calm, the light is awake, and yet there is one more truth to receive, what this awakening means for your future self, and how to carry it into every action, thought, and relationship. Now that the current has awakened, stay still for a moment. Close your eyes. Breathe as if the world itself is breathing through you. Feel how your spine hums like a quiet instrument, how your toes still hold that subtle pulse, a soft reminder that energy never really leaves. It only changes shape. You began this journey by touching your toes, but what you truly touched was time. You reached through the present moment and brushed against something ancient that has always known you. This is the continuation of light, the place where your nervous system becomes your prayer, and your breath becomes your bridge to the unseen. In The Seat of the Soul, Gary Zukav wrote, when the personality comes fully to serve the energy of its soul, that is authentic empowerment. And that is what you've begun, not the pursuit of control, but the surrender into harmony. As you carry this awareness into your days, you'll notice subtle miracles. The way silence feels fuller, the way your breath returns faster after stress, the way certain people, places, and sounds no longer pull you away from yourself. That's because you're no longer seeking energy, you're living it. Each step, each touch, each thought now moves through an awakened system. Your body has become a sanctuary of stillness. In Anatomy of the Spirit by Myss, she wrote, your biography becomes your biology. Every act of presence, every gentle return to breath is rewriting that biography now. The old patterns lose their weight, and the new ones hum quietly in alignment with peace. So tomorrow morning when you wake, don't rush to find the world. Find yourself first. Let your toes meet the ground. Let your spine rise in reverence. Whisper your name softly to the universe and listen. It will whisper back through your heartbeat. This is the real gospel of the spine, not a sermon, but a remembering. You are both earth and ether, root and light, human and divine current intertwined, and as you move through your days, know this: every time you pause to touch your toes, to breathe, to feel that warmth return, you are aligning your body with the same field that guides the stars. Soft bell chime fades in. If this journey opened something inside you, imagine what awaits when we explore the next point, the heart's gate, the bridge between emotion and energy. So if your spirit feels called, subscribe to the Spine Gospel, leave a gentle yes in the comments, or simply share how this light moved through you today. Whether you liked or disliked this experience, your response is your reflection, your way of speaking back to the current that speaks through all of us. Now take one last deep breath, in through the nose, out through the mouth, and as the breath fades, remember, you never lost your connection. You simply remembered where it lives. The portal is closed, but the light remains.